News alert, one of the most powerful lawmakers in Washington just an hour ago vowing to introduce brand new legislation to cut all federal funding for NPR. This in the wake of the Juan Williams firing. Welcome to a new hour of America Live, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. National Public Radio received more than $4 million tax dollars from Uncle Sam through various contracts and grants over the past 10 years. But several lawmakers are now calling the network partisan, saying it shouldn't get one dime of federal money. South Carolina Republican Senator Jim DeMint now introducing new legislation designed to derail NPR's federal funding. Joel Kelsey is political advisor for the Free Press, and Joel does not think this is a good idea. Why not, Joel?
Well, public broadcasting, both PBS and NPR, represent a real important part of American journalism. And talking about defunding all of public broadcasting is kind of like asking for the death penalty in small claims court here. Regardless of how you feel about NPR's handling of Mr. Williams, trying to get rid of public broadcasting when Americans are craving more fact-based, hard-hitting news is just not the right answer.
Is that what they get on NPR, fact-based, hard-hitting news?
I think so. I think most Americans, is clear in all of the surveys that are looked at, that public broadcasting, PBS, NPR, all of the thousands of local stations that are supported through public broadcasting deliver local news that speak to the needs of local communities. And that's what we should be trying to grow more here in the United States.
It's
the
fine.
right thing to ask.
But the criticism is that in addition to providing fact-based news, they also provide a bias that leans left. I mean, I had a guy from CARE, the spokesman for CARE, who was on here yesterday. That's the group that pushed for Juan to be punished in some way, and they got what they wanted. That was saying, look, it wasn't a good fit. It wasn't a good fit between Juan Williams and NPR because it was clear that Juan has some conservative views. Juan, who is a liberal, who had some conservative views, so obviously he didn't fit in there. I mean, if that's the state of public radio, you can understand why some of our lawmakers are saying, we're not funding it.
Yeah, but I think the right answer is not to talk about defunding all public journalism and all public broadcasting.
How about just NPR?
Well, I think the right answer is to talk about how do we put more accountability if we feel like it's not supporting, the views that most people would like to see. The other thing I think is important to underscore here is that
$1.8 million from George Soros. They're going the other direction. They've made no move to the center whatsoever. They're going the other way. And you got a lot of people out there, Joel, who do not support that agenda, who say, I don't want to pay for it, in particular when our country is so in the red. I don't care. Okay, fine. Find some way to fund the other obligations, but I don't want to pay for NPR.
Sure, I think many Americans want, though, fact-based, hard-hitting journalism and not talking heads. They, I think, are looking for more facts, more information, so that they can make their own decisions. And if you want to talk about how to increase accountability, that's the right answer. But I think public journalism, both here in the United States and abroad, it serves a very important role when it comes to media journalism and news in America. But NPR doesn't really need
public dollars. It only gets 2% of its money from any public funds. So why not please everybody? Get rid of the public funding that we give to NPR. They can live off their other 98%. George Soros, he'll provide the rest, I'm sure. And everyone can be happy. We don't have to worry about funding an organization that thinks someone like Juan Williams is either a bigot or needs to spend more time with his psychiatrist.
But that's not what people are talking about
here.
That's people
what the
are talking about defunding public journalism, right? And so, I mean, I think it's also important to underscore that there's a difference between an opinion piece and you know, an editorial column, for example, and a news journalist and someone who's supposed to be talking about unbiased, presenting facts unbiasedly and giving, you know, folks a clear account of what's going on. Well, that's true, but the problem with NPR is that they seem to have a double standard on that. I mean, we've talked about Nina Totenberg over there, who's their legal affairs correspondent, who has offered incendiary opinions of her own in other forums, and they've done nothing to her. She hasn't been fired. Juan Williams comes on and says he doesn't even offer an opinion. He talks about his own personal feeling about feeling some trepidation when Muslims in full Muslim garb come on planes, and he's out of there. So it's got to be balanced. I agree, but again, I think going back to look at defunding all of public broadcasting.
But you won't speak to just defunding NPR.
I think that's not what is on the top. That's not what's on the table here. Mr. DeMint and several others have talked about defunding all of public journalism, and that's not right. I think that NPR, and again, if you go back and you look at all of many different surveys, Americans across the country feel that NPR, PBS, public broadcasting represent real institutions, and you know, they deliver hard-hitting, fact-based journalism.
You know what else? You know what else is at the top of the list? You know what else is at the top of the list for trusted news? Fox News. And CNN is also at the top, and we don't take public dollars, and we do just fine. And there's an argument to be made that the other side can do just fine as well.
Well, I think public dollars are important to fund public journalism. I think that advertised-based models don't support what is local, diverse news that can speak to local communities. There's thousands of local NPR stations all across this country that employ thousands of people, and defunding all of that because of, regardless of how you feel about the treating of Mr. Williams, is again like asking for the death penalty in small claims
court. Still got their 98%. All right, Joel, listen, you're a stand-up guy. I appreciate you coming on and giving your point of view.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And now for the other side.